Welcome rum fans. Thought it was about time we did a little bit of a deep dive into exactly why our rum is different to everybody else in the UK at the moment. Now, you've probably heard me talk about it in the past, about the fact that we do not use molasses to make our rum. The reason we don't use molasses is because I find unaged molasses, white rum, molasses rum, to be a little bit dry and a little bit acrid. You can play around with that and you can be adventurous with the recipes, but at the end of the day, it can be a little bit less easy to drink, shall we say, straight off the still. I really have always enjoyed syrup-based rums. So basically what that means is you've got the sugarcane juice, you've boiled it a little bit, and you've turned it into a syrup. So there's a little bit of sort of processing going on there to get your syrup. You then ferment the syrup and you distill that. That's how we make our rum. Now, of course, we live in Portsmouth here. We don't have the tropical climate. We can't grow sugarcane, unfortunately, which means we have to source our sugarcane juice in a rather innovative way. So we import dehydrated sugarcane juice from Costa Rica. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just cut a bag open for you. And if we can pan in. See, it's very coarse. And basically what they do, and the company we get it from have been doing it for 50 years plus in Costa Rica, and they harvest the sugarcane, they get the juice, they put it into big vats, and over a course of about 3 to 4 days, they literally very slowly dehydrate the juice. And we end up with this. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we then use to rehydrate and boil to make a syrup. So let me show you the process that we're doing that. Literally, obviously, our lovely brew kettle here, which has got our boiling water in it pops. And of course we give it a good old stir so we don't have any lumpy bits at the bottom. Now, in this state, now, if we were to allow that to cool and not boil it, and not therefore change the structure into a syrup, we can make a very nice agricole rum. Agricole being made from sugarcane juice, and I've actually tried it with this, and it makes a very, very nice agricole. But we don't want to make an agricole. We want to make something that's a little bit more approachable, a little bit more that people will understand and enjoy, which is what we do with our 1968 unaged rum. So we boil this for a finite period of time to change the molecular structure into a syrup, but we don't boil it so much as to eradicate all the lovely flavours you get in an agricole. So the characteristics of our 1968 rum is then it's soft, it's smooth, it's sweet up front with a big fat unctuous underbelly of tropical fruit and a little nod to agricole on the back of the palate. A slight floral herbal finish. And it's eminently usable in all cocktails that require an aged rum, but you can also stick it in a glass with some ice and sip it. So the next stage from this, and I won't be filmed putting all of the sugar into the brew kettle because there's no point, it'd be a very dull video. Join me in a second and I'll show you a couple of stages we're already in the ferment, in the process of making our wonderful rum. So we've made the syrup. Really lovely quality syrup. We put it into our fermenters. We like to use these small fermenters because we find we get really good yield from it. And it's flat bottomed. It's flat bottomed because we have a bottom fed yeast culture, which basically means it goes to the bottom and then eats its way up. If you have any kind of concave in the bottom of that, then it falls to the bottom. It's piling on top of each other and not working as efficiently. So this one here was made about a week ago. So if you have a quick look in there, you'll see that there is still some activity going on. There's still some yeast chomping away there on the sugars, turning it into alcohol, but it's quite quiet, shall we say. This one next to it was made 2 or 3 days ago. And there's the difference in activity. You can see it bubbling and still foaming away there quite nicely. Now, we ferment for quite a long time. We put it in and 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks later is when we consider that it's ready. And at that stage, it's a little bit more like that, but there's pretty much no activity at all. That's our, what we call sugar wine, and it's a really good high alcohol content, which we then use for the double distillation. So it's full of flavors, full of congeners, ready for a double distillation. So we put 500 litres of what we call the wine into our still, Sophie Woo, and we do what we call a wash run, which is where we take off all the alcohol. That alcohol is known as rum wash, which sits between 45 and 48% by volume. Once we've got enough of that, 250 litres, 500 litres, we put it back into Sophie and we do a spirit run. So the normal cuts, the heads, hearts, tails. Hearts we then let down with some water into a bottle, 1968, lovely rum.